California, believe it or not. So we have to thank California for the purchase of Alaska. I mean, that's where all the gold came from. Anchorage was incorporated in 1915. There's a village about 40 miles north of here called Chugach. That's actually where we get all of our water from. They've been around for 800 to 900 years. And there's another village called Tyonek, about 40 miles west of here. Both of those villages have been around for 800 to 1,000 years. The reason why Anchorage wasn't incorporated as a city, this basically was a swamp. They would come over here in the summertime to get their moose and get their salmon, but they didn't want to live here. You know, tons of mosquitoes, tons of bugs. You can imagine that. Hopefully we'll have this fog cleared up for you guys. Is this everybody's first time to Alaska?
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're gonna have fun today, I promise you that. No matter what.
Good attitude.
So in 1915, when Anchorage was incorporated, what happened was we had a town in Seward, and they were looking for a rail depot, a hub to get the miners up to Fairbanks and Nome, you know, during the gold rush. So this was the only area that had a port. Right below the hill where I picked you guys up is called Ship Creek, and that's where original Anchorage was at. So the first people that moved here were miners that did not make it in the gold fields. So they knew that there was going to be work here because they had to put a rail in. So the rail that they put in was from Seward to Anchorage was 127 miles. And we're going to go about 60 miles of that today. This is voted the #1 scenic road in the United States. It's also a very dangerous road. Just because of the sites. You got rock on one side and water on the other. Wow. But I'll make sure to keep you guys safe today. So Anchorage's population is about 300,000 people, just a little bit less. But including in that 300,000 people, we have 1,200 moose that live in the Anchorage Bowl. When I'm saying the Anchorage Bowl, it's the mountains on the left. Just imagine that there are mountains on the left and the water on the right. And what we're driving around, the locals call it the bowl, or the Anchorage Bowl. But the Anchorage city limits, believe it or not, go 10 miles north of Anchorage to a little town called Eagle River, and then 40 miles south here to a town called Girdwood. Anchorage is the 4th largest city, not by population, by land square size in the United States. #1 is Sitka, Alaska. #2 is Juneau, Alaska. #3 is Wrangell, Alaska. And we're #4 in the whole United States. Our city is about the size of Rhode Island, which doesn't really say that much. Rhode Island's pretty small.
Yeah, that's true.
We had really super dense fog earlier this morning. The sun will burn this off, but as soon as we get a little bit out of town, hopefully it'll start clearing up for you guys. It's supposed to be nice today. This is not windy and cold. That's the fact. We've had a really strange winter this year. We had snow on September 21st, or September 23rd, I'm sorry, was our first snowfall this year. And that, out of my 31 years of being up here, that is only the 3rd time it snowed in September since I've been here. What that does is makes for a long winter. So in 1964, we had the 2nd largest recorded earthquake ever in the history of earthquakes, a 9.2. It lasted for 4 minutes and 45 seconds. The only one bigger than that was a 9.5 in Chile. That was in 1960. Both of those two earthquakes had something in common. They both caused death and destruction in Hawaii. So after the 64 earthquake, they started a Pacific tsunami warning alert system for the Pacific. Let me get this, get the windows back up. So I used to like earthquakes. about the size of a Volkswagen landed on the hood of his vehicle. If he was 3 feet farther forward, we would not be having the same conversation. The other gentleman was taking his rental car back to the airport in an overpass that every one of you had gone over because it's the only overpass getting out of the airport. He was up on the overpass, the earthquake happened, and the overpass collapsed. He fell 25 feet in his rental car, and he didn't get hurt. He said it was like in an elevator, rapidly going down real fast, and then all of a sudden, he stopped at the end. He said, but he got out, grabbed his bags, he climbed out of the hole, and he walked to the airport about a mile, and he gives the rental car keys to the guy and says, hey, my rental car is a mile down the road. The overpass collapsed. Thank heavens I have insurance. So he gave him his keys and he got on his plane and took off. Hey, look at this. See, the sun's coming out. I told you the clouds will burn off.
It's beautiful.
Yes. So those mountains, like I said, those are the Kenai Mountains on a different tectonic plate. So basically where the fault line is right in Chugach Arm here. So this, where we're on, is going underneath that. And this tectonic plate moves at 2 inches a year. To put that in perspective, in a million years, it only traveled 32 miles. But in 90 million years, it traveled about 2,880 miles. So there's parts of Southern California, what used to be a tropical ocean bottom in Southern California, here in Alaska to this day. And what 2 inches a year is about the same distance that your fingernails and your hair goes. So Chugach Arm is home to the Beluga Whale. There's approximately in 2000 they did an aerial survey. There was approximately 1,300 belugas in Chugach Arm. And then in 2010 they did another survey and they only counted about 300. The scientists did not know why the dramatic decline. In 2020 they counted 324, so they've been hovering about the 300 range. The baby beluga is basically the same color as this water right here. If I took a picture of this water, it is salt water, but it's the consistency of chocolate milk. What belugas use is echolocation to find their prey species. They're salmon eaters. That's what they eat. So they're here from May through November. That's when the salmon are here. That's when the belugas are here. So in 2020, they had about 324. But last year, 2021, they didn't do a survey. As just a driver, seeing the belugas, we saw a lot of babies last year, which is a really good sign. I want the belugas around for my grandchildren to see them.
That's true.
But last year we had something that we hadn't had before. We had, they put up signs. People were harassing the belugas with drones. They wanted drone footage of the belugas. Well, the belugas use echolocation, so you can imagine that messes up with their little sonar. So there's a $2,500 fine, and there's report people if you see them harassing the belugas. So I think that's a good thing. Don't mess with the animals. They've been here long before. For the wintertime. So this park is 200 acres and the brown bears alone get 14 of the 200. It's the largest brown bear enclosure of any place in the world for wild brown bears. These are the boy elks. Here's the thing. They need to keep the boys and the girls separated because you have land and you have feed. This park would be overrun with elk. They breed like rabbits. So I'm going to be pulled up here and we'll be able to get out and you can be able to take a picture. Because I did not want you walking down here. You can tell the road is so narrow, you can't have people walking on the road and a car to go through. You could slip, fall, people have gotten injured and we don't want that. So I'm going to be parked right up here. We're going to walk right down to them. Stay away from the fence. We had yesterday a lady came, just stay back at least 3 feet from the fence. You're only going to for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to drive you around and drop you off where the bears are. Just to get you pictures of the elk.
We'll exchange sleep when we're going back home.
Charlie Brown show. It's kind of like that. So you're driving around with a big dust storm. So if he always says, you know, keep it at 7 miles an hour. I don't know how they figured that out, but it's the only speed limit, 7 miles an hour. So look at this this wood bison over here. This is the main gift shop. This is where we're going to meet at 2:30 in that parking lot. I'll be parked there at 2:30 at the bottom of that gift shop. So where that bison is, to the left is the boys' bathroom, to the right is the girls' bathroom. Behind the girls' bathroom is the gift shop. Through the doors behind the gift shop is animals. To the left of the gift shop is wolves. That's where the wolves, those are things that people miss. They don't know that there's animals behind the gift shop, and then the pack of wolves is to the left. Your moose are right here. They're in this building. Go into that red barn. To the right, there's 3 moose in there. And then to the left, there's a lynx in there. So make sure and walk into the barn. There's that, see the moose sticking out right in the corner? Mm-hmm. You can walk in and you can get right up close to them. I know the lady from Ireland's looking for some moose. So we got elk on the left-hand side. These are all female elk. I'm going to drive you down and show you the male elk. These animals on the right, these are an animal you probably have never seen before, ever. These are called muskox. What muskox are, they're an Ice Age animal. They were around when the mastodon and the woolly mammoth were around. So their fur is very, very special. It's called quivit, Q-U-I-V-I-T, quivit. The Alaska Natives make mittens, scarves, and hats with it. Super, super expensive. It's warmer than wool and softer than cashmere. And do not do what those people are doing. Remember, don't approach the fence line. These actually guys will charge. It says right there, that's the picture you take. Danger muskox. Yeah, don't do that. I watched people get their wind knocked out of them many, many times. They're taking a photo, they're not realizing the animal's charging them, and they don't know because they think they're protected by a fence. That's why I have to read the disclaimer. So you're going to be walking. This is the area where the bears are. You're going to be walking through this overpass. Yesterday the bears were up by the fence, but where I drop you off by the bathrooms, you're going to walk this overpass and head back towards the gift shop. But I'm going to drive you to the driving part. This is not the walking part, but I'm going to drive you through it and then drop you back over to the right where the bathrooms are. If there's people up by the fence, then the bears are out today. I see somebody up by the fence. Yep, so the bears must be out today. Which is good. This is where I'm going to drop you off at, but I'm going to drive up through here and then make a loop. Yep, you can see he's right there, right in front of that guy. Yep, so perfect. You guys are in luck. That's a great sign.
Portage Valley Glacier.
Portage Valley.
Portage Valley
There are 7
Glacier.
glaciers here.
They're like, what's going on down there? I said, well, it calved way over there, and it sent a shockwave all the way through, and that's why it's broken up in the center. Yeah, it's right here. Take lots and lots. It's half-mile wide and 26 feet.
Have it as your screensaver.
Next mating season, when I'm ready. This guy's going, oh yeah, you guys are. Yeah, you don't have to do it either. You could always call their little calves. Juveniles, and then the dominant would always be there. Another couple other dominant bulls. They wouldn't be next to each other, because they would still be like, hey, you want to, let's go. Right. But in the wintertime, they want to save their energy. They still get fed and all that stuff, but it's cold. The young bulls are always
He must be the dominant.
typical.
How close we can get to the bear? That's a big question.
Last summer, we had a juvenile
Very handsome.
bison. I would call him a teenage boy. Juvenile male. Jumped over the fence while I was at the farm. So I was thinking, oh my God. All he did was jump over this fence, this is a foot or so. This fence is almost a foot tall. Not here, but if you took all this snow away, it'd be a foot tall. Jumped over the fence, and he just waited. He just basically was like, hey, my food and family are here. Let me back in. For the wintertime. So this park is 200 acres, and the brown bears alone get 14 of the 200. It's the largest brown bear enclosure of any place in the world for wild brown bears. These are the boy elks. Here's the thing. They need to keep the boys and the girls separated because you have land and you have feed. This park would be overrun with elk. They breed like rabbits. So I'm going to be pulled up here and we'll be able to get out and you can be able to take a picture. Because I do not want you walking down here. You can tell the road is so narrow, you can't have people walking on the road and a car to go through. You could slip, fall, people have gotten injured, and we don't want that. So I'm going to be parked right up here. We're going to walk right down to them. Stay away from the fence. We had yesterday a lady came, just stay back at least 3 feet from the fence. We're only going to be here for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to drive you around and drop you off where the bears are. Let's take pictures of the elks.
We'll exchange sleep when going back home.